pretty new to ACE or first time here, so very quick introduction. So we are the National Trade Association for startups, we run lots of events like this, focusing on helping startups to get overseas market access, but we also focus on other areas like helping you to get access to talent, helping you access to get funding. So today for the session, we will be introducing you to the opportunities in the tech sector, specifically on Cleantech and Fintech. We also have a founder here who has actually made it to the UAE and is here to share his experience on what it's like on the ground. Following that, we also share a little bit more about an upcoming mission trip that we're really excited to share with you more about. And after that, we will have plenty of time for questions, snacks at the end for refreshments. Before we get into that, I'd like to introduce our board member, Engineer Edwin Khew, to give a welcome address. So can please welcome Edwin.
Good afternoon. Mr. Mohamed AlZarooni, Head of Economic Affairs at the UAE Embassy in Singapore. Dr. Brian Shegar, good old friend, President of the UAE-Singapore Business Council. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon again to all of you, and a very warm welcome to the UAE Market Insights, co-organized by ACE.SG and UAE-Singapore Business Council. The ambition of Singapore's founders are immense, and they constantly seek to expand and explore greater opportunities abroad. As the National Trade Association for Startups, we remain steadfast in our commitment to create new platforms and channels to support and best our position to help our startups to be successful. This Market Insight session represents ACE.SG's continuous efforts in collaborating with various partners to bring relevant information to help local entrepreneurs make their foray into overseas markets. Today's Market Insights event is on the wealth of opportunities in UAE, the strategic trade and commerce hub for Asia, Africa, and Europe. We are privileged to have with us both the UAE-Singapore Business Council and the UAE Embassy in Singapore, who will be sharing their unique insights, coupled with actionable tips for any aspiring entrepreneurs in the clean technology and financial technology sectors looking at expanding into UAE. I trust that all of you will walk away with a better understanding of UAE's technology ecosystem and how founders can tap on these opportunities to build and grow your startups. Just to maybe share a little bit, besides being a board member of ACE, I also chair a startup in the carbon trading platform. And going back maybe a year or so, we were invested by Mubadala. And right now, as a company called AirCarbon or ACX, we've established a presence in Abu Dhabi, and with great support from the Abu Dhabi government, and we're doing really well there. So I would encourage those of you who are looking at expanding into places like Abu Dhabi or Dubai to really consider it seriously. And I'm sure today you're going to be learning a lot from both the embassy and from the Business Council. So I wish everyone an exciting and fruitful session ahead. Thank you very much.
All right. Next up to give his opening remarks, we have Mr. Mohamed AlZarooni, Head of Economic Affairs of the UAE Embassy in Singapore. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Mr. Edwin, for sharing your experience. I think that's quite intriguing, actually. So a warm welcome to this pre-mission roadshow organized by the Singapore Business Council and ACE. It's my pleasure to share with you an overview of the tech scene in the UAE and the vast opportunities that await you, particularly in the realms of fintech and climate tech. So the UAE has always been at the forefront of embracing innovation and technological advancements, positioning itself as a regional hub for cutting-edge technologies. With significant international events like COP28 and Abu Dhabi Finance Week on the horizon, businesses and startups could take advantage of these massive opportunities to showcase their innovations and technologies and to network with similar-minded businesses. Fintech stands as a central pillar of the UAE's economic diversification strategy. Over the past decade, the country witnessed a rapid transformation in its financial sector, embracing the digital revolution that we see in this day and age. The UAE government has worked towards creating a favorable environment for fintech startups to flourish. Robust and supportive ecosystem created by the government nurtures innovation in various domains. This includes, blockchain, digital payments, peer-to-peer lending, etc. The establishment of dedicated free zones and tech incubators and platforms such as Abu Dhabi Global Market, who actually will give a talk after myself, and Dubai International Financial Center, the IFC, are prime examples of the nation's commitment to nurturing this industry by creating a fertile ground for startups to thrive, with streamlined licensing processes and access to venture capitals, as Mr. Edwin just shared, actually, through his experience. Abu Dhabi serves as a stellar example. The Emirate is shifting its gears from an oil and gas powerhouse to become a world-leading technology and innovation hub. COP71, Abu Dhabi's global tech ecosystem, boosts a dynamic startup community with over 200 companies that have collectively raised more than $1 billion US dollars. In the Web3 and blockchain space, COP71 Plus digital assets stands as an impressive ecosystem with partners committing around, I believe it's $2 billion US dollars of capital on a global scale to fund startups. As fintech entrepreneurs such as yourselves, you will find a wealth of incentives, including access to a diverse pool of potential customers in the region. Climate tech emerges as another vital aspect of the UAE's tech strategy, harmoniously aligned with our dedication to sustainable development and environmental preservation. As the UAE delivers on its net zero by 2050 strategic initiative, there is a focus to incorporate and incentivize the creation of new businesses that prioritize decarbonization. The UAE's legacy of climate leadership and practical solutions is further emphasized by its major investments in climate action. For instance, ADNOC's announcement at the beginning of 2023 to allocate more than $15 billion US dollars for low carbon solutions, new energies, and decarbonization. So decarbonization technologies underscores the nation's commitment to tackling climate change. Moreover, Masdar, our renewable energy company, is targeting an ambitious goal of achieving around 100 or over, actually 100 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. So you can see that there's a lot of opportunities open to companies in the UAE. As Singaporean businesses and startups, your innovative climate tech solutions hold tremendous potential in the UAE. Whether your focus lies in renewable energy efficiency, waste management, or sustainable agriculture, our nation welcomes and embraces your expertise. So the UAE is not only a land of innovation, but also a nation that embraces diversity and inclusivity. Our thriving expatriate community reflects our open-minded approach, celebrating different perspectives and experiences that enrich our society and economy. I don't want to take any longer of this of your time, actually. So thank you very much, and I extend my best wishes for successful and fruitful session ahead. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. AlZarooni, for the great opening remarks. So next up, I'd like to invite Dr. Brian, President of the UAE-Singapore Business Council, to give an overview of the opportunities in the tech sector. Right.
Mr. Mohamed AlZarooni, Head of Economic Affairs of the UAE Embassy in Singapore, Mr. Edwin Khew, Board Member of ACE, fellow presenters, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to everyone. I'm really very happy that we are doing this with ACE. It's going to be the first of several such arrangements. And before I go on into some overview of the tech sector, focusing on Fintech and Cleantech, I want to take the opportunity to explain what is the UAE-Singapore Business Council. Singapore has signed an FTA with the GCC. It's quite a historic agreement, actually. To get the GCC to agree on an FTA with Singapore wasn't easy. And arising from that, there was this brainstorming as to what we should do to ensure that the business community can leverage that important relationship we have with the GCC. Of the GCC, the UAE is really the most important country as far as our economic relationship is concerned. They are our largest trading partner, and we trade more with the UAE than the whole of the Middle East put together on trade. With the investments, there's more investments into Singapore from the UAE than any of the GCC countries. And conversely, the more investments into the UAE from Singapore than any of the ASEAN countries. So if you look at total stock of investment into Singapore from UAE alone, it's about $14 billion. So we have a very significant relationship. So the whole idea was to put a platform, i.e. the UAE Business Council, as an enabling platform to promote B2B connectivity between Singapore and the UAE, with the primary focus of helping Singapore companies. So we are a Singapore registered business organization, like a business chamber. Our patrons are the UAE Ambassador, His Excellency Jamal Al-Suhaili, and Mr. Lee Shang, who was Senior Minister of Trade and Industry and very responsible in the early stage with the former Prime Minister, Mr. Dr. opening up the opportunities in GCC and the East. And he's also our patron. And what we do is to create an ecosystem comprising companies who are already in the industry, are already in the UAE from Singapore, UAE companies in Singapore, and many, many aspiring companies who want to get the market and import business is there. And how do we do this? We organize seminars, we organize workshops, and we organize various events to educate the opportunities of various sectors in the UAE to potential parties in Singapore across the relevant sectors. Now, today's focus is on tech sector. Now, a little bit more about the UAE. It is the only country in the GCC which is so diversified economically that only 30% of its economy is dependent on oil and gas. Only 30%. So that is quite an achievement. And that's largely because it's got a strong services sector, strong communication sector, transportation sector, tourism sector, industrialization across the board, not just oil and gas. So it is a very interesting economy. It's open, and now the latest mantra is the knowledge-based economy in which it is really thrusting itself forward into. And IT, of course, is a big part of that whole proposition. So what I'm going to do, if I may, is very briefly sort of give you an overview. Did I get this right? I'm going to control it from here. Okay. A brief overview of the IT sector, and I want to focus on Cleantech and Fintech. Why Cleantech and Fintech? When we do things like this, and we've done this with various sectors, believe me, we did something with the Sustainable Energy Association of Singapore, which Edwin is the chairman. And after a session like this, we then probe the feasibility of organizing a business delegation, where we curate a special program, which you hear about, for those companies who now want to move to stage 2, which is to go and see what they can do there, all right? And we arranged that kind of business delegation with a very interesting program. We'll hear more about that later on. So really, when it comes to the IT sector as an overview, as explained by Mr. Mohamed, that's tremendous commitment, vision on the part of the UAE to really look to the future. And it's all based on sustainability, ESG, it's based on technology, and diversify even further from the oil-based. And there are various plans, strategies which are UAE-based, which are Emirate-based. For example, Dubai 33. They want to double the size of Dubai in terms of population. The other version, Dubai Vision 2040, want to make Dubai, one of the top big cities in the world with a huge master plan for urban development. So they're constantly having forward-looking strategy. And the unique thing about the UAE is something that you all should take note of, is because of the higher oil prices that are now prevailing in the market. That also, of course, is also relevant to the other oil exporting countries. There is liquidity. And that liquidity is being invested in infrastructure, in technology, and the openness of the economy in terms of investment from all over the world, attracting talent from all over the world, and employing people from all over the world is quite established. It's a very cosmopolitan international city. You can take Dubai, Abu Dhabi is the same. So that's the point I want to make. The first point, it is constantly looking at the future and planning for the future. And some of these objectives are very, very bold. Government announced various strategies, and one of them was on AI. They even have the Minister of AI. And that just to again position UAE, what is the most important, the most interesting and fascinating aspect of technology, AI. A minister just for that. And then they have government-based strategy, which is to digitalize what the government does. And so that strategy, which is related to the government of the UAE, is called a digital strategy, where they want to really digitize everything. Blockchain. So really all the buzzwords that we all know about, crypto, blockchain, and have a plan for blockchain as well, and so on and so forth. So Fintech is an important sector. Why? Because Dubai is beyond a doubt the leading international financial center in the Middle East. In the old days, it was Lebanon, then he went to Bahrain, now it is Dubai. And after the successful launch of Dubai as an international financial center, interestingly, Abu Dhabi is also in compete. And it is set up as Abu Dhabi Global Market. Now, this is something I want to explain to you all. The interesting thing about the UAE is there is no competition between the Emirates in attracting investment and attracting talent. That's always good for investors like you. So you have Abu Dhabi, Dubai, trying to court companies to set up operations there and expand there. So that's the interesting dynamic you get in the UAE, the competition, healthy competition among the Emirates, all very hungry to attract people, talent, technology, etc., etc. They've also made it as easy as possible. In the old days, there were restrictions on 100% ownership. The company being set up in the mainstream economy. Only the fees owned Now that is now. You could have a tech company set up operating in the domestic markets, 100% owned by foreign entities. That's an example of how seriously they are looking at liberalization. Okay? And so ICT is just a very important part of their whole strategy. Now, fintech, the IFC has been established as a major financial center. Sorry, let me look at Cleantech first. Look, I mentioned Cleantech because Cleantech is very much involved now, partly because of COP28. COP28 is going to be held in Dubai, in Expo City. It's going to be a big event. Why? Because we're going to do a stock take of what they have done so far in terms of their emissions from net zero, etc. It's going to be a very important COP. In addition to the so-called blue zone, where all the governments will start taking place, they're promoting the green zone for the private sector to play a role. So we think that this is a timely opportunity for some of you companies here who are into this area of clean tech. That's called clean tech. Like the term clean tech. And I am hopeful, as you will hear later on, that from this presentation and subsequent follow-up efforts, we will be able to organize a delegation in this clean tech sector. You'll hear more later on about our plans. So when Huda talks about our prospective business delegation that we want to organize on clean tech. So there are all kinds of examples I can give you. Get a copy of this that fills in the details about how important this is. For example, the hydrogen market. And this is going to be a huge market. It's estimated to be 11 trillion by 2050. In the new UAE government, 125% of this market by 2030. And they want to be one of the leading hydrogen exporters. And that's how ambitious they are. I told you earlier on. They already started teaming up with Amsterdam, Abu Dhabi, in doing space work there. Additionally, in the area of solar power is a big deal in the UAE. And for example, renewable energy, even though they're oil and gas, they're putting a lot of money in renewable energy. And UAE has really the best solar potential in the world because of this, climate and so on and so forth. And 90% of the land has capacity for solar power. One example of this great investment in this sector is the solar park, which is being developed in Dubai, which is going to produce 6 megawatts. Is that? Let me see, 7.3 gigawatts of solar power. So solar is a big thing. Renewables is a big thing. So EV charging infrastructure, because there's going to be a lot of investments in this sector. They're investing in electric vehicles, batteries, etc. So really low carbon industry and carbon green steel industry with strong green content. These are all things that they are very keen to promote. But anything that you can play a role in will be very, very I think well received. You have to have a good story to tell. Now, fintech, very quickly, the next delegation we want to do is on fintech. So one delegation we want to do on fintech, one on fintech. So and fintech again has lots of appeal. for Singapore startup in the UAE. You know, we're very happy to say, to share the success stories of AirCarbon and Enjinstarter, the Business Council. We've done really phenomenally well in terms of their foray into the UAE. You will hear the story afterwards. So this will be the next sort of delegation. This is just to break a bit out of it, but the most important focus we want to make during this sort of session with you is determine whether there's enough appetite from you, your members, and others that we will be talking to set up a delegation in the sector of Cleantech. So really, we'll be having a Q&A afterwards, and we can talk about more sort of interactive aspects of your interest in what we are planning to do. So this is just a chart showing how the statistics in terms of IT spending have been nothing but upwards. Okay? So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming here. We have a couple of more presentations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Brian. So as Dr. Brian mentioned, COP28 will be a very important event coming up in November. So, who better else to share more about the clean tech opportunities than the COP28 team? So from the team, we have the COP28 Climate Summit UAE President team. We have two speakers, Mr. Omar Said and Mr. Peter Brady, to share more about the opportunities. So Peter, Omar, welcome. I think you're dialing in from the UAE, so thank you for coming down. I'll pass the time over to you for the sharing.
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all, and thanks for joining us.
Great. I just want to make sure that you can see the screen and also hear us well. So is everything good? Perfect. All right. So I think we can definitely get into this. So we're quite excited to share some of the opportunities that we see on how the Singapore startup and tech community can get involved at COP28. I'll speak briefly just to provide an overview of some of those opportunities, especially when it comes to being engaged into some of the programming. And Peter will kind of delve a little bit deeper also into some of the opportunities around our startup village that we have. So this is a physical space that he can speak more to. This pack I will be very happy to share with all of you via the organizers later. So it has a lot of useful links and information. So don't feel the need to take too many notes. We'll make sure that this gets to you. I think most importantly, what we would like to start off with is to discuss the site itself. So as you know, COP28 this year will be held in the UAE, in Dubai, and we have an absolutely fabulous legacy site that we're able to use, and that was the Expo 2020 site. So unlike some of the previous COPs in which, due to limited space allocations, you had the green zone and the blue zone being split or in different locations, this year it's all in one space, and we have a lot of great legacy features and pavilions that are existing from Expo 2020. And what I want to highlight is for the green zone in particular, our presidency, the COP28 presidency for this year, has placed a huge amount of emphasis on private sector engagement. So I sit within the partnerships team, Peter sits within sponsorship, but we're really trying to bring as much private sector engagement to this COP as possible. And the reason being is we really want to have a lasting legacy in terms of the non-negotiated outcomes. So the outcomes that's outside of all of the negotiating tables, away from all of the politicians, so to speak. So what can we do to advance climate action from as the private sector, as civil society, and so forth? So without going too much into that, I do want to highlight that there are a number of interesting hubs within the Green Zone. There's the Technology and Innovation Hub that our team is curating a lot of the content on. We have a Decarbonization Hub, and there is also a Knowledge Hub. And in terms of registering to become a delegate, this is something that will be available on the COP website going forward. It's free. You just have to register online, and that's kind of the minimum threshold of participation that as a startup you can just go and attend and sit in on the various sessions and activities happening there. Peter, if I've missed anything, please feel free to jump in on this particular map.
No, I think you laid it out well. I mean, talking to the audience here, maybe some of you, obviously, a lot of you will be experts in the clean tech space, so you may have attended COP. I think exactly what Omar was saying is that the emphasis is very much on bringing the private sector into the engagement. So we're looking to the Green Zone is going to be the beating heart of the event. So across 12 days, we're looking to probably, we're anticipating 30,000 visitors per day who will be circulating in the Green Zone. And they will be contributing to the programming, as Omar said, and he'll dive into a little bit more now, as there's a lot of conferences that we as the COP Central Committee will be organizing. There is a business showcase. So the private sector has the ability for the first time ever at COP is to own their own space, to own their own home, and to essentially have a place to conduct meetings and business activities across the 12 days. And yeah, I think let's dig into the Technology and Innovation Hub a little bit, because most of the people in this audience are going to reside within this space. Yeah.
Precisely. So the Tech and Innovation Hub definitely is your home at COP28, and in a nutshell, it's meant to act as a space for progressive thinking and to highlight and spotlight a lot of the innovative technologies that are geared towards climate action, whether it's in the mitigation or the adaptation side. And I think broadly speaking, there's three components to it. There is a tech stage, which I will get into in just a moment. There is the startup village that Peter will talk about, and then there's also the actual showcasing for corporates and companies, as Peter also mentioned, which you can have your own pavilions or spaces as well. Now, I want to go very briefly into the tech stage programming. So there's a lot of programming that will be happening at COP, both in the Blue Zone and the Green Zone. However, for the Technology and Innovation Hub, it is a dedicated stage that we have 2 weeks of curated programming, and this will be aligned with the COP28 thematics. So this slide and these thematic themes, you may have already come across it on the COP28 website. These are the thematics that have been set by our presidency, in addition to the cross-cutting themes, which include things like tech and innovation, inclusion, finance, etc. So for the tech stage, it is free to participate in programming. So I just want to emphasize that there's no cost or there's no barrier to entry in terms of participating and putting forward proposals. What we have done, and I apologize that this slide is a little bit busy, but again, it's just we wanted to provide detailed guidance to all of our potential programming partners, of whom definitely startups are welcome as well, and other organizations that want to support us in curating the programming for the tech stage. So what we've done is we've highlighted some of the macro level challenges that we want to see across the thematic areas, as well as some of the proposed tech solutions that we would like to explore. And lastly, some of the cross-cutting themes or the enablers that we think are also relevant. And as a very quick snapshot, what we're planning to do on days 1 and 2 of COP, which is coinciding with the World Climate Action Summit, is we want to dedicate day 1 to having a broad overview of the role of technology in advancing climate action. And day 2 will be much more around ecosystem building. So what can we do to advance climate tech ecosystem building globally and especially in the global south? And then that sets the stage for all of the subsequent days and where we go into each of the thematic focuses. Now, to participate or contribute towards the programming, what we've done is we've also laid out the various formats in which you can submit applications. So whether you want to suggest a keynote, a panel, a fireside chat, etc. We've also highlighted some of the considerations around diversity. So bringing in several organizations, having a proper representation between sectors, between also having gender parity in some of the programming that you would suggest, etc. So we have an online form. I definitely encourage you all to apply and use it. The first batch that we'll be reviewing will be the end of next week. So if you're able to get your proposals by then, it would be much appreciated so we can process you through the first batch. And again, I just want to emphasize two points, and then I'll hand over to Peter. The first point is please do use your convening power. So we want to see the full ecosystem. So anything that you can do to bring in relevant, whether it's a relevant government organization or a client that you're working with, or possibly an incubator, anyone within the ecosystem, so that we can have, it goes beyond just a startup talking about what they're doing and their technology, but it's really more addressing the broader ecosystem. And the second point is impact. So we really want to see programming and discussions that are more impact driven, and we're happy to work with you and co-design some of these sessions to do that. With that, I'll pass on to Peter on the Startup Village.
Thanks, Omar. Cognizant of all of your busy times, we'll try to keep schedule. Just to repeat, we are open and available to have further conversations with all of you. You have a face now within the COP28 team if you want to follow up directly on anything here. So to re-emphasize what Omar was saying, we strongly urge you to participate very much as attendees, to come to COP and experience COP and participate at COP. Second is the programming. Use your convening power, use your technical expertise to bring some value to the rest of the audience through speaking or organizing side events or contributing through any initiative that may be at your disposal. The third way to potentially participate more of a business commercial opportunity is within the Startup Village. So I'll just talk about it now for a minute, but it's a brand new initiative for COP. So we, as the COP28 committee, will be presenting a selection of 150 leading startups from across the world. As I said, this has not been done before. It's obviously garnering a lot of interest, and it's our opportunity as COP to put the best foot forward for the entrepreneurs and technologists out there who are going to be contributing to the climate action cause. Now, what this looks like is, here you see actually a mock-up of the real infrastructure. We obviously don't want to build and burn too much, so we're utilizing existing infrastructure, which is on site, and we have 75 kiosks. We have 75 kiosks which are available for a startup showcase. And we will be presenting 75 startups on week 1 and 75 startups on week 2. We are in the middle of this recruitment and selection process. So you in the audience, if you are a founder, if you're working with a startup, or you have startups within your network who would like to be considered for the startup showcase, we still have time. We are getting a little bit tight on time, but we still have opportunity to accept applications. So very quickly, what the process, or how the process is set up: individual startups can make an application to be one of the 150 showcase startups. This will then go off to a committee, and we will be selecting startups based on a few different criteria, which we'll share with you afterwards. Thank you, Omar. We have it here. So obviously, we're looking for startups that are able to scale, that are market ready, that have solutions and technologies that We have solutions and technologies that can apply and scale globally. We're looking for, obviously, startups. So we are going to verify all companies that you're not a subsidiary of a large multinational. And then some of the other criteria that we're looking to comply to in the selection process is then technology and geographical focus. So what we mean by that is we are limited here. We want to put the best foot forward for COP. We need to make sure that we are not too heavily emphasized in one sector or another. We don't want 150 EV startups is a simple way to put it. So we are assessing each company on their different technological expertise and the sector they're servicing. And then secondly, geographically, we want to highlight companies in the global south, and we want to highlight companies that are servicing emerging economies and the global south. So all of these factors are going into the evaluation process. That takes 2 weeks, by which time we'll respond individually to each company to say, yes, you've been approved, you've been selected, would you like to go ahead? You would then decide whether you want to be one of the showcase startups during COP. There's a contribution amount of $7,000 per company per week, which is essentially paying for the use of the physical infrastructure, the power, the air conditioning, and the branding. So a lot to digest. We only have a short time. I'll stop there. And again, we are available now to have one-on-one conversations with any of you who would like to know more, like to know how to contribute to COP, or indeed would like to consider applying as one of the startups for the showcase. So I think that's it from us, Omar. I believe we may have a bit of time for questions if we haven't run over. So back to you in the room. So thank you again for having us.
All right, thanks so much, Peter and Omar. So before we move on to the next speaker, are there any questions from the floor or anyone from that's dialing virtually? Oh, all right.
So the question is just in terms of where to apply. Is it the website? Is there a specific location to submit the application? Or how do we move forward and apply?
I'll take that one. Yes, great question. Apologies, I wasn't super clear. So following this, we'll work with all of you to share all of this information. And what we'll be sharing is the overview presentations, and I will share details on how to apply. Quite simply, it's not, at this stage, it's the online applications have closed, but we're still accepting offline applications. So we will share the 2 forms. One is for the programming request, and one is for the startup application. You can essentially complete that and send it back to myself, Omar, and there's some catch-all email addresses that we'll share that go direct into the COP committee.
Thanks for the presentation. You're very good. And ladies and gentlemen, may I share with you that when we work with the Sustainability Association of the Portugal delegation, we call it COP28 in their team. We were very encouraged by the dynamism and the tremendous focus of the meetings on the private sector with you all. And so the UAESBC will be very happy to help you all if you are interested in keeping up this great opportunity to showcase your product of innovation. And so, yeah, so we're happy to be your local contact point and help facilitate and coordinate and link up with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Peter and Omar, for your time. So now moving on to the next speaker to share a little bit more about the fintech opportunities in UAE. We have Mr. Faisal Al-Mansouri from the Abu Dhabi Global Market. So welcome, Faisal. I'll hand the time over to you. Faisal, I think you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now? I just want to check if the audience can hear me clearly.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So I'd like to start by thanking the organizers, Singapore UAE Business Council and the UAE Embassy for giving ADGM the opportunity to present itself. Is the screen clear?
Yes.
Okay. So today I'm going to talk to you about Abu Dhabi Global Market. I'll just give you an agenda of the structure of the talk. I'll start by talking about some facts about Abu Dhabi. Then I'll give you a brief of Abu Dhabi Global Market, deep diving more into the New Age Finance Cluster, which is one of the clusters in ADGM. Then I'll take you through the application process, key partners for growth, investor services, real estate office spaces within the ADGM jurisdiction, and events and lifestyle, and how ADGM engages with its clients in the jurisdiction itself. So why Abu Dhabi? First and foremost, it is the safest city in the world for the past sixth consecutive year in 2022. Abu Dhabi GDP accounts for 2/3 of the UAE economy. 5% of the world gas reserve is based out of Abu Dhabi, and 9% of the world oil reserve is based out of Abu Dhabi. And given its location, it is located, which really shows that 80% of the world is reachable with an 8-hour flight, which makes, Abu Dhabi a very strategic located jurisdiction around in the globe. On the left, you could see a picture that was taken in 1964 and the difference of a picture recently taken in 2023. So Abu Dhabi Global Market was, just to give you an overview on Abu Dhabi Global Market, it was established in 2015 as the first jurisdiction in the Middle East to apply direct application of English common law. As you may know, the UAE has this hybrid model of free zones and non-free zones. We are considered as a financial free zone that gives foreigners 100% foreign ownership of the company. We also offer flexible toolbox of structuring solution, and I mean by structuring solution and a toolbox is you have 14 different entity types to choose from when structuring your company in ADGM. If you're used in structuring your company under MAS in Singapore, you could do so today the same way you're used of structuring it in MAS or under the FCA in the UK. It is possible today in Abu Dhabi. Zero corporate income tax, access to UAE double taxation treaties. And that's a very unique thing, especially in structuring. A company in ADGM that's based out of ADGM gets the benefit of the UAE double taxation treaties. So that really helps when you have a global presence and want to create your headquarters, for example, in ADGM, it would really benefit you. As of Q1 2023, we have registered 6,800 licenses within our jurisdiction. Just zooming more into Abu Dhabi Global Market, you have your registration authority, which handles the incorporations of a company. You have the FSRA, which are the Financial Services Regulatory Authority that looks into authorizing and supervising financial firms from arranging and advising up to full-fledged banks. Then you've got your ADGM authority that supports the other authorities with your Marcoms, your human resources, your operations fall under the ADGM authority. And then you have a state-of-the-art ADGM court, where we have a physical, both digital and physical court. And just to tap into the court, yes, we apply the direct application of English common law. All civil and commercial laws does not apply. The UAE civil and commercial law does not apply in our jurisdiction. And enforcement from the ADGM court even applies within Abu Dhabi or the mainland of the UAE. As of key targeted sectors that we are focusing into, we have the traditional finance that covers banking and insurance, wealth management, multifamily offices, digital payments. Then you have your new age finance cluster, and this is the cluster that I had that covers your digital assets, digital securities, fintech, and technology firms. Then you have your functional finance, and that's more into the funds, and you could structure any type of funds from your VC to your private equity fund to your mutual funds to your even real estate investment as a REIT out of ADGM. Then you have got your asset management that also you could apply it in ADGM too. Now I'm deep diving more into the new age finance cluster within ADGM. I'll start in the left by a brief history. In 2016, we established the Reg Lab, which is a sandbox where fintech financial startups could test and develop their products under the regulator's supervision, which would really help them commercialize their product in the future. So they could come, it's a 2-year program that costs around $2,400, and they could come and test their financial product, and especially the ones that really can't find an activity that we already provide. Now we are inviting a lot of DeFi players, for example, to the Reg Lab. In 2018, we launched the innovation license to support the startup community within ADGM. And it's more of an incentivized cost of license, a reduced price of license to $1,000 from $10,300 license cost within ADGM. In 2018, we were one of the first jurisdictions internationally to apply the virtual asset framework. And in 2020, we applied the digital securities, and I will speak more. I'll give you more details on both the virtual asset and digital securities and what do we regulate out of the ADGM jurisdictions. In 2022, recently, we came up with a consultation paper both on the DeFi and NFT, and we just received the public's comments on it, and we are in the process of creating regulations around that. So to split out the new age finance, you have 3 main clusters that we focus on. As I was saying, the virtual assets. So what do we regulate as ADGM in the virtual asset? We regulate exchanges, which are multilateral trading facilities. We regulate custody providers within our jurisdiction, and especially we've been getting a lot of interest from the US, especially after what happened with FTX, for example. The clients would really want to be under a regulated umbrella. We also regulate digital securities. We have one of the first exchanges that trade carbon credits out of ADGM, stable coins and derivatives. Any funds that would invest into digital assets, we also have a home for them. Under the fintech, as I mentioned earlier, the Reg Lab, we are attracting a lot of blockchain infrastructure companies, payment services, alternative financing, especially in the securitization side of things. Into tech, usually tech companies, we have around 390 tech companies that usually cater to financial institutions. And we are focusing on AI and cyber tech, agri-tech, health tech, and ed tech. And today, ADGM jurisdiction, I just wanted to mention that the ADGM jurisdiction is recognized internationally. We have one of our companies in the right picture here, Anghami, that is registered in ADGM and listed as a SPAC in NASDAQ in the US. And we have a lot of other companies that are registered within ADGM and listed on the Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange too. To how to apply within the ADGM jurisdiction for financial firms. There is the first step is a demo. So there will be a discussion with the regulators of the idea and the concept. Then an application would be submitted to the regulators. There will be a lot of going back and forth till you receive something called an IPA, which is an in-principle approval with conditions that are highlighted by the regulators. And finally, you would receive your financial permission to operate the business out of from ADGM. As to access to capital, we have key partners for growth. Abu Dhabi is a city that is home to over $1.5 trillion of institutional capital, and we work closely with ADIA, Mubadala, Abu Dhabi Investment Office, ADQ. We even created a strategic and sovereign wealth department within ADGM to really support existing clients that are registered in ADGM to facilitate introductions to sovereign wealth funds that usually uses ADGM for their international joint ventures. We have a one-stop shop service within ADGM, which is an investor service. It's an online portal where your visas, your work permits gets to be done, your establishment card, any permits you need. We even have dedicated immigration officer that sits within ADGM to help with enhancing the process for our clients. As of real estate, we recently announced of an expansion. The cabinet issued a resolution number 41 of 2023, was enacted on 24 April 2023, expanding the jurisdiction and territory of ADGM to Al Reem Island, which now is 2 islands and 1 district and is regulated by the ADGM, and it equals to 1,438 hectares of space. As of office spaces, you have your flexibility of choosing your office spaces. You could start with an office desk, or you could get a full-fledged office space. The availability is there. We have space. We have a lot of A-class towers that are based out of ADGM. Or if you want to start with one of the business centers to test the water, you have a dark cloud spaces, executive offices, WeWork, and Regis, your classical style business center. This is just an overview to just give you a feel of who do we have within ADGM. Of course, we have, if you go to our website, adgm.com, you could access our public registry where all of our 6,000 plus companies are registered and you could see their names. But we also have this just to get a feel, who do we have under the different clusters, and each cluster head is responsible in building this ecosystem. So I'm responsible for the new age finance and attracting more of your cryptocurrency exchanges, your tech players, your fintech players, and building this ecosystem within ADGM. And we've been getting a lot of traction today, not only giving us one of our main tool to attract financial firms, and especially in the fintech and virtual asset space, is our frameworks, is our regulations that is transparent and very clear. And we will be announcing soon, in a couple of months, of really main players on a global scale that would call ADGM home. So these are some of the firms that are based out of ADGM. For example, as asset management, Brevin Howard just moved 120 of their staff to ADGM. They're one of the largest asset management. We are in discussions with main companies also on the asset management side, and most of them are already registered within ADGM. And in the new age finance, we have AirCarbon exchange, is the exchange I was talking about, carbon credits. We've got banks like Signum that we just issued an FSP a couple of months ago, which is a crypto bank. SIBA Bank is also based out of ADGM. Binance Custody is based out of ADGM. Matrix is one of the UAE-based, UAE-born exchanges, and a shareholder of them is Mubadala. So you've got main players in the crypto space that will be also coming to ADGM. Events and lifestyle. We like to engage with our community. So we have something called the Link event, where we would host an event every month for our registered clients to network, to engage, to network with one another. And we would either do it in one of the hotels, Four Seasons or Rosewood, or even in our facility. That's a picture that was taken in our facility, where we would do this kind of set up, a casual evening catch-up for registered clients that want to attend and network. We also host Resolve. It's our second year to do it. It's more designed for the advisory community. We have top speakers in the advisory and the dispute resolution community that attended. And this year we had Hillary Clinton attending our Resolve event that happened a couple of months ago. And our flagship event is Abu Dhabi Finance Week that would be taking place in 27th of November this year. It's our second year also to do it. It all started in 2017 with a small fintech event, and now it became a full week of event. Last year we got 8,000 attendees. This year we're expecting 10,000 plus. We have a dedicated Asset Abu Dhabi Day. We have a dedicated fintech day with top speakers from around the world. A race more on the regulatory matters, and we have and all around ADGM is called the Capital Square, where a lot of booths and different companies that want to promote their business in that square. So a lot happens in that week. A lot of partnership, a lot of sessions that happens during the finance week. And especially with this year, you have a lot happening in November. You have the COP28, you have Abu Dhabi Finance Week, and you have the Formula One race happening. So it's a good month to be in Abu Dhabi. Just to give you a picture of the ecosystem we have within ADGM, within Al Maria Island and Al Reem Island, you have the Abu Dhabi Square on your left, retail stores, which is Galleria Mall, connected to the office spaces and the ADGM Authority building. It's an underground shopping mall and an extension that they just opened recently. Hotels, you've got Rosewood and Four Seasons. They are based out of the island, and that's all walking distance from the office spaces. As education, you've got Sorbonne University, New York University, Cranley School, top schools and university that are based within either walking distance or 5-10 minutes drive from ADGM jurisdiction. And healthcare, you've got the top clinic, which is Cleveland Clinic, is a 5-minute walk from your office space within jurisdiction. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer any questions from the audience.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Faisal. So are there any questions from anyone here or those that are tuning online? Okay.
I just want to make 3 comments. Faisal, thank you for your excellent presentation. I spoke about DIFC earlier on. Everyone knows about DIFC. A bit of a head start. But as you can see, ADGM is catching up very, very fast. They are more than quadrupling their swings, actually. And I think you would have obviously been very impressed by the presentation. And we were there, we always go and visit them, I visit them. They are very keen to attract startups, as you have heard. And so that's one point. ADGM moving rapidly forward. The second point is, again, the UAESBC is to facilitate the first meeting we arranged for our members, interactive Zoom call, introduce you and get the ball rolling. The third one, very important. Whenever we have an event like this, we like to showcase how companies have succeeded in the UAE. Very fortunate today to be hearing from Prakash, who will talk about his Dubai experience. But we're very honored to have Edwin here, who is a role model in terms of a Singapore company that has very successfully established itself in ADGM in Abu Dhabi. And I want to have you, if I may, Edwin, be kind enough to share some of your experience in what you've done so far in Abu Dhabi and perhaps, also serve as a role model for others to emulate. Edwin, can I ask you to please share your experience?
Thanks, Brian. You're putting me in a very difficult situation. What I can say is what I shared before. We started with a team of 2 or 3 people. And Faisal, I'm actually referring to AirCarbon. or ACX.
Yeah.
And we've got all the help and assistance that we need. We managed to start everything up quickly. We've got a good office space. Today we have about close to 40 people, 30 to 40 people. And I'm talking about a period of probably 8 to 10 months. Okay. And I have a very happy staff there. They feel very comfortable. They have a nice place to stay, and their kids are properly educated. As Faisal has mentioned, it's very, very safe. I see it on internet when I talk to these people. I've not been there myself, but I have a lot of good feedback. And my CFO, who actually, together with the CEO over there, they come back and forth. So we started in Singapore 3 years ago, and we moved our headquarters to ADGM, primarily because Mubadala actually invested in us. And now we've actually got a regulated platform for carbon exchange. We use the latest blockchain. We've actually developed all the technology ourselves. And from there, we are basically trading with the world. And being the first regulated exchange, carbon exchange, we've got basically all the big boys who eventually come on. Those that are a little bit skeptical about coming on to the Singapore platform, because the fact that carbon is not regulated by MAS in Singapore. It's now regulated in Abu Dhabi, and we are expanding extremely quickly. So those of you who are actually looking and considering, going to the UAE, I would say ADGM would be a good bet. You look at all the buildings there; they're all extremely modern. They're on 2 islands. And I can only share that so far I've not heard anything negative. And so far, all the staff that are there and their families are very happy. Thank you, Faisal, for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
I hope to see you one of these days.
Yeah, and I think a good time to visit would be on November 27th for Abu Dhabi Finance Week. If any of the audience wants to get a good feel of what's happening and what's the latest stuff that we'll be announcing on.
Thank you very much for your words of sharing and conversation. Faisal, you better pay him as a business promoter for ADGM. You did a good job promoting here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Faisal. So, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. So, thank you, Edwin, for your perspective. We're also very happy to have Mr. Prakash here, the CEO and co-founder of Enjinstarter. So, they are a blockchain gaming, metaverse and entertainment startup. So, thank you very much for coming down to share your experience landing to UAE. So, welcome, Mr. Prakash.
Very honored to be here. About 14 years ago, I was serving on ACE as the vice chairman for a while. And when this particular room was being set up, I was start to look after it and make sure that it was ready for the launch. I used to sit here and serve and host a lot of inbound delegations from Austria, from Europe, from Holland. I'm very excited to now be here and actually encourage you guys to venture beyond Singapore and to explore the UAE. And in my sharing today, I'm actually going to be sharing more from my personal journey of how we have actually gone to the UAE and now set up and also managed to get a license there in a very, very short time period. Right? So I run a company called Enjinstarter, but we are a launchpad. We identify companies that we want to invest in, between 25K to 100K, and we actually help them raise capital both on our platform as well as through our private network. So we've done about 80 such investments in the last 2 years. We're currently still headquartered in Singapore, and in 2022, there were 3 major crypto crisis that actually happened here in Singapore. There was Luna, there was 3 Arrows Capital, and of course FTX happened. And when Luna actually happened, that was when our investors, so we had raised an equity round. We raised $5 million from a group called True Global Ventures, and they are a Singapore-based MAS-regulated company. And that's when they told us that, look, the regulations in Singapore is going to get very tough, and it's time for you to actually explore UAE, right? And prior to that, I'd never been to the UAE, literally with a bag like my backpack, like my parachute. I landed there, and I was navigating the entire scene myself, right? So we started exploring the different free trade areas. So we went to DWTC, we went to DMCC, we went to a whole range of those things. And each one of them actually had a very, very strong proposition. Each one of them had some value that they were going to bring to us. And everybody wanted us, right? Because, you know, we set up in Singapore, we were thriving here, and they saw that we could add on to their ecosystem. And then I came back to my board and, you know, I presented all 4 options of the different zones that we had visited. And then they asked me, so where are you going to set up? I said, I have no idea. Right, and that's where we actually officially joined the UAE-Singapore Business Council, and that's where Dr. Brian kind of gave us a very, very clear understanding of what's going on in the UAE landscape, and that's really where we identified which is the area that we were going to go for, right? So we started this process of applying for a license under what is called VARA, which stands for Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. It was a very new regulator that was being set up. We started the process with them in October last year. By January this year, we managed to get our IPA or in-principle approval, right? So it was a very, very quick process. They spent a lot of time with us, and that's one key thing that we find in the UAE, right? They're very consultative, they sit with us, they understand what we do, and then they told us, you know, we'll be happy to invite you to be part of the sandbox. They originally were going to give us an advisory license, but they have actually upgraded that to now give us an investment management license. So very proud to say that at the later part of this year, we're going to be launching a launchpad that will be regulated in Dubai. It will be primarily focused on climate financing. So we're working with climate tech startups from all around the world who are looking at raising capital and also expanding into the GCC, where we'll help them raise capital and also facilitate a whole range of market entry work, right? So some tips that I wanted to share with you, especially coming from Singapore, and if you represent the Singapore brand, you are very, very well recognized in, especially in Dubai, right? A lot of things in Dubai was inspired by Singapore, and we got that platform, right? Though we are just a startup, people sat with us, spent a lot of time understanding what we're doing. And that's one key thing that I had to learn, right? I mean, coming from Singapore, you know, we want to always do deals very quickly. Every trip, we want to come back and report some KPIs. But in Dubai, you actually need to develop that relationship. You need to invest your time to visit them, to sit with them, drink tea, to understand their culture, at the same time to also share your experiences. And that's really where we developed something called WASTA, right? Where it is not just who you know, but it's not what you know, but it's also who you know. And that's very, very important in the UAE. It helped us open a whole lot of doors, and it also helped us enter relationships that on our own we couldn't have. Right? So this is where I'll recommend and advise you guys, if you guys are expanding into the region, to look for local partners. Even our platform that will be launching in the later part of this year, we're branding it with an Arabic brand. We've built an entire branding strategy with an Arabic flavor to it, so that we can actually kind of localize that into the ecosystem, right? The other big experience for me was actually participating in an event called GITEX, which is going to happen in October this year. And I've traveled around the world attending festivals, events, so on and so forth. But this particular event was where I was convinced that Dubai or UAE is the place to be, right? Because last year when I was there, they actually had a flying car that actually had people inside and it was flying, right? That's when I knew that the UAE is not just about talk. They have huge ambitions, but they have the will and muscle to actually get it done. And that's really when we felt that the whole UAE expansion for us is not just a market expansion, but it's now an opportunity for us to participate Singapore has been very, very helpful to us. He sits with us, he understands, and he follow up with us by actually making connections to us. I was fortunate to have been with Dr. Brian Shegar on the business mission trip that we went for a couple of months ago. And a lot of the relationships that we've been trying to establish or crack over the last 8 months, we managed to get it in a single trip, both in Dubai as well as in Abu Dhabi. So I strongly encourage you guys to leverage the support both from the UAE-Singapore Business Council as well as the UAE Embassy in Singapore. And if you guys need any support, any help, I'll be happy to reach out and connect with me. I'll be happy to share more and facilitate anything that I can. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Prakash. So on the next speaker, I'd like to invite Ms. Huda from the UAE-Singapore Business Council. So we're very excited to share more about upcoming delegation that we're leading to the UAE, the Council.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Huda, I'm the Director of the UAE-Singapore Business Council. I'm happy to see Prakash as well as Shiva here, who was part of our delegation in May with the Sustainable Energy Association of Singapore. We hope to bring you all over to the UAE in November. This is our plan for the Sorry about that. So when you sign up to join the delegation, we plan to bring you in the week of 19th November. We are planning to bring you to 3 important emirates in the UAE, especially with regards to tech. Of course, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Sharjah. Well, we intend to arrive in UAE on Sunday so that we can start meeting straight away on Monday morning. This first meeting in Monday morning would be with our strategic partner, Abu Dhabi Chamber. For your information, as soon as you give us your details and confirm your participation in the delegation, what we'll do is we collate all your information and put it in our delegation booklet. And it will feature, as you can see here, Prakash and Shiva both in this booklet. So you can list your products and services. And we will send your information to all of the UAE entities that we're visiting like a week beforehand. So with Abu Dhabi Chamber, they will distribute all the information about our delegates to their members, all of their members, and will invite those who are relevant to the sector, who are interested to connect with you to the Abu Dhabi Chamber and network with you and pitch and see what you're all about. So you have a chance to meet potential collaborators and investors at the Abu Dhabi Chamber meeting, as well as the networking lunch provided by them. Following that, we'll head over to Al Maria Island, where Abu Dhabi Investment Office, Hub 71, as well as TAQA is situated. So Abu Dhabi Investment Office is the investment arm of Abu Dhabi Emirates. So they have an investor care relations department, very capable, who will guide you on how to set up in Abu Dhabi. Hub 71 is part of ADGM as well. They are focused in startups. So it's a cohesive infrastructure that you can connect with other startups. There's plenty of time opportunities for you to pitch for funding as well within the Hub 71 network. Following that, we'll be visiting TAQA. TAQA is an Abu Dhabi National Energy Company. It's like the PUB of Abu Dhabi. So it provides energy and water to the emirate. They have a dedicated vertical on sustainable and renewable energy, and are waiting to see what you can offer them in terms of their solutions to help them with sustainability. The first night in Abu Dhabi, we will host a networking reception where we invite the Abu Dhabi business community. And in this networking reception, you will have a chance to pitch your company again to the audience, to these potential business partners in Abu Dhabi in particular. We are fortunate to have the Singapore ambassador to UAE as a very strong supporter of our council. So he will attend as a guest of honor usually in this networking reception. On second day in Abu Dhabi, we'll be visiting Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. They are very strong sustainability and energy transition department, which even when we were visiting last time, they were asking about when can we make some more clean tech companies into the UAE for them to use. For your information, the chairman of ADGM is actually the president for COP28 Climate Summit. So that's another opportunity for you there. Following that, we will visit the sustainable city in Yas Island. It's owned by the Aldar Group, so you can pitch again. You will have a meeting with them. And every single meeting, Dr. Brian is very particular about this. You will get a chance to talk about your companies with these UAE entities, so they can assess and they will. These are the decision makers of the companies we will meet. So you have a chance to pitch your products and solutions to them directly. Following that, we'll head over to Masdar, which is the Abu Dhabi Renewable Energy Company. Masdar is owned by Mubadala, and they have presence all over the world, including in the ASEAN region. They have an office here in Singapore, and they have big projects, especially in Indonesia, in this region. Following that, we'll go to Shams. Shams Solar is as the name implies, they are the solar power energy provider for Abu Dhabi. Following that, on the third day is the Sharjah Day. Sharjah is an emirate across from Abu Dhabi to Sharjah. It's about 2 hours. So we will meet with Sharjah FBI office, again similar to ADIO. They're in charge of helping foreign companies to establish in Sharjah. And it's a one-stop shop. You can have all the, like ADGM said, they can provide housing and education. Similarly, Sharjah FBI office will link you up to the necessary information that you need to set up your company there, as well as live in Sharjah. Following that, we'll go to the education city in Sharjah, where Sharjah Research and Technology Industrial Park is. This is a very, very high-tech free zone where you can make use of their relationship with the universities. And one thing about SRTIP is it's the cheapest and fastest free zone where you can set up a company. As well as their unique selling point is also their cutting-edge laboratories, R&D, training programs, and funding. I'm sure Prakash remember the high-tech 3D printing lab that they had. So you can make use of all the facilities within SRTIP as well as the universities if you set up your company within SRTIP. Following that, we'll head to this, as you can see, spaceship-looking building in BR in Sharjah. They're owned by the BR Group, which is initially in 2007 they were just a waste management institution for Sharjah, but now with heavy investment from the Sharjah royalty and leaders, they have now become the most leading sustainability pioneer in the Middle East, not just in UAE. They are now very strong in Saudi and Egypt. So that's another opportunity for you to pitch your solutions to them. Following that is our first day in Dubai. The same night we will arrive in Dubai. So this will be our networking reception in Dubai. Similarly to the Abu Dhabi reception, you have a chance here to pitch your companies to Dubai, the Dubai business community. And our DOH for the Dubai reception will be the Consul General for Dubai. And again, you have plenty of opportunities to network and clinch possible collaborations within the Dubai business community there. Okay, the last 2 days is in Dubai. So the first thing we'll visit is Dubai Chamber. Similar to the Abu Dhabi Chamber, Dubai Chamber is like the Accra of Dubai. So if you want to set up a company in Dubai, you have to register with Dubai Chamber. If you want to set up a company in Abu Dhabi, you have to register with the Abu Dhabi Chamber. So for Dubai Chamber, they would prefer a meeting-like setting. So they will present to you all the opportunities relevant to your sector in Dubai, as well as they will tell you what services they can provide for you when you set up your company in Dubai. Following that, we'll be meeting with Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism. It's the government department in charge of promoting FDI into Dubai. They have a very dynamic team who will help you again, step by step on how to set up your company in Dubai, along with what funds are available from the government. Following that, we intend to secure a meeting with TCOM Group. TCOM Group is a big group that owns 10 business districts across Dubai, especially in focus with knowledge-based economy, including design, education, manufacturing, media, science, and technology. So they own Dubai Internet City, Dubai Media Cities, Dubai Knowledge Park. So again, if you meet TCOM Group with the help of the embassy, of course, this is one of the, we work this the itinerary together with the embassy upon the recommendation of the ambassador as well as our own network. That's how we derive this itinerary. So TCOM Group hopefully will be able to see your solutions and innovation and adopt them at their facility. The last meeting on Thursday, we should be able to secure a meeting with Anywhere. This is a non-government, private leading solar company in Dubai. They are also present across Middle East and Africa. Our last day in Dubai would start with Dubai Energy and Water Authority, which is the PUB of Dubai. They have a lot of sustainable projects, big mega projects on sustainability. And again, we would be able to pitch products to them and the decision makers. Following that, we'll head to Expo City, as the COP28 mentioned. COP28 is going to be held at Expo City. And within the Expo City, there is a residential area that's close sustainable. So Ambassador has recommended that we visit this area within Expo City to get to sort of know what the sustainable projects are there and what your startups can offer to the residential areas. Following that, during lunchtime, we will be hosted by MBG Group, which is a corporate member of the UAESBC. They are very established in Dubai. They have a big office there with more than 200 staff. They provide comprehensive services related to business setup and advisory. So you will be in good hands with them. It's a very interactive session, so you can share any problems or any questions with them. They have very well capable and very experienced staff to handle your queries. Following that, before we head back to Singapore, is a debrief session where it's usually hosted by Dr. Brian, and to get more information and from the delegates. And then for those who want to stay in UAE, they can stay on their own finance. But if they want to return, they will return the night flight and arrive on Saturday morning. So if this has interest, pique your interest, please register your interest by filling out this form. If you can just take a photo or bookmark the URL that brings you from this QR code. We hope to receive all your interest by 28th of August so that we can finalize the vision and solve for the necessary funding. That's all for me. Thank you very much. Looking forward to our discussions after this.
All right, thank you very much for that. Could I invite you as well as Dr. Brian, Mr. Mohamed AlZarooni to come up on the stage in case there's any questions from the floor. Sorry. Yes. So, any questions regarding anything that we've shared so far?
Haven't shared questions yet.
In terms of cost, we're actually coordinating with the pieces on this, and it will be a very minimum of the
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mohamed, as well. This is a very special delegation. In the sense that we're working very closely with the embassy. And the embassy has been very generous and so to us. We want to encourage the startup sector here to do business in the UAE. Now, the ESG is increasing the government. They advise Singapore has the scheme of the amount of grants because 70% of some properties of these costs include the domestic application, the cost of the receptions, cost of the arrangement, the domestic cost that are part of the cost. Now, what the embassy is saying, we find good range of companies who are really serious about doing things in the UAE and stuff. We want to give them a little bit, and they are prepared to finance part of what is the direct cost. We're working on some amount of venture. We will be in discussion now. Another culture because the India is something I believe about
just looking at the itinerary and even related to the process would be an opportunity that we shouldn't miss out on. Having all of those events that were mentioned, whether it's COP28, whether it's happening during that specific months. How many days is it? 3 or 4 days? 5 days. I don't really find any other offer. What we're offering, you will not find it elsewhere in the market. We are planning. We've never been to Dubai, never been to Abu Dhabi. We really want to explore the market. You should definitely grasp this. There were a couple of things as well that colleagues from ADGM, for example, mentioned. There's substantial opportunities in the UAE in this day and age. ADGM, it's a reason, but it's also a platform. They're able to connect you with the deep markets in the UAE, with that, especially in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. Now, Josh shared his experience with Dubai, Edwin also shared his experience in Abu Dhabi. So you have opinion of both Singaporeans of what they have to do in the UAE. And from what I see, so positive. And I hope with this delegation, it will also be positive. I'm actually sure about just utilize this opportunity while it's available and find how that it goes, especially this way. We do have big events that are happening that we do not find those kind of opportunities in this way.
I know that some of you are members of ACE, so please register your interest in ACE. Those who are members, some of you I know are not members of ACE, but we do invited to other channels. Discussion. Contact us, the business council, contact them, and we facilitate. So we are a collaborating partner. Yes. All that mission.
So I try to do a lot of things on the board, whether it's a startup, we go in, we hustle, we go for networking events. But being part of that business delegation trip in a week where The people that we met, they're all very, very senior. It's very, very high quality. And the value that we got out of that 1 week outbeats everything that we did over 8 to 9 months. So you guys are serious about venturing into it, I would recommend this. The timing of it is going to be perfect, and we're all going to be at COP in some way or another. It is going to be one of the biggest COPs ever. And there's a whole lot of value that you guys can get out of it. There'll be a lot of site events. And again, if you're trying to do it yourself, it's going to be quite challenging, but because of the support that we're getting from both the Singapore as well as the UAE side, the dignitaries, the ambassadors, the high commissioners will all be present, as well as the local business community, the very senior people come in, so we can get a lot just by being there in a week. And Buddha's a phenomenal superwoman who is there at 7:30 in the morning and stays with us till about 10:30, and she does a whole lot of things. She's very, very precise in the way she organizes it, very, very detailed. And having Dr. Brian with us for a week, he gives you all the cultural, political, the context, and that kind of helps you navigate through the ecosystem. So I strongly recommend you guys consider that.
This is why Mr Prakash is a good advocate. You want to comment about your experience under the previous television?
Thank you, Dr. Brian. And yes, I was with Prakash and the was during the last visit. Yes, Prakash had mentioned how fruitful it is. And honestly, there are some things where if you walk in, you definitely will get an appointment. So such high-profile companies and high-profile people, I think we should do this.
And thank you. Are there any other questions from the floor? Okay, and are there any closing remarks from any of the speakers there?
It was quite a long session. Yeah, I can see everybody's kind of tired. Again, as I mentioned, we have those business delegations or arranged with the business council. We have multiple, a couple of them throughout the year to try to utilize. Again, they do open doors for you to venture into the UAE. They do open doors for you to meet with high-level individuals within the UAE. And just by looking at the itinerary, looking at COP 71, you mentioned that some incubator for startups such as yourselves to basically establish them. There's a tremendous amount of support from the government in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Enjinstarter, and just try to utilize those opportunities because 10 years down the line, the atmosphere might change. Right now, the opportunity is there, so just
All right, thank you very much. So on that note, I think we've come to the end of the event. I hope you found it useful. Feel free to stay behind to mingle with the speakers and among yourself. Help yourself to the snacks and coffee. With that, thank you very much for your time and hope to see you soon.